Welcome back to FTP Speed Shop Podcast, a podcast where we talk about what you talk about in the garage because, hey, we're in the garage. I'm your host, Mike Early, and today with me we have Dan and Doug, and I'm not even going to try to say your guys' last names because I can't. So we got Dan here. So Dan, what'd you bring? What's the backdrop in the garage tonight?
I brought my 1969 SS Camaro.
This is probably my favorite car in town. I love this car. This is a beautiful car. Every time I hear this thing coming, I get a big old smile on my face. It sounds amazing. It looks amazing. It's just a perfect example of what I think a 69 Camaro should look like. Sorry, I didn't mean to toot your own horn, but I really do love this car. It's beautiful.
It's all right. I love hearing it, you know.
I like riding in it.
Everywhere you go, everybody loves it, you know.
Yeah.
You can't wave enough.
Yeah.
You know, so it's cool. I love it.
Sits right, sounds right, looks good. So, all right. Doug, what do you got?
I got a 67 RS that I'm working on. It's been a project for too long, and Dan actually, he kind of forced me to get it out of the barn, and we took it apart. We put it in the garage and tore it down, and he's been kind of pushing me along, but he said, just get the darn thing running, and then you can drive it around. Well, that's where the mistake happened, because I got it running, and that's all I do is drive it around. It's still in primer.
If you don't finish that last 20% or whatever, and you get it just running, I'm notorious for that. I will get it just good enough, and I'll drive it, and then, I mean, it took me 10 years to get the transmission harness wired on the Chevelle.
It's about 10 miles per hour, right?
And it was 6 wires I had to just cut and splice into the harness. The harness was already hanging down there, but it was like, why am I going to lay underneath it and work on it when I can go out and drive it? You know, what free time I get, or I got so many other damn projects. That
I'm surprised you just didn't use what do you call those caps? Just
wire
put
nuts?
it together and go wire nuts. Away you go.
I can't bring myself to go that far down on it. I've got too many friends that'll make fun of me if they see it, so I gotta try to keep it just slightly above par, maybe slightly below.
Right.
So.
But yeah, that's all I've been doing, driving it, and probably here real soon. If the weather turns bad, then I'll get back on it a little bit.
How long
I need to get it painted.
How long have you been driving around in primer? I feel like it's been a couple of years.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had this car since 1983.
Oh, nice.
And so it went from garage to barn to shed to behind somebody's house and back to a garage, and it stayed in my barn for a long time.
Yeah.
Got a Trans Am and drove the crap out of that, and like I said, Dan finally talked me into getting going on it, and because I think you were almost done with yours, weren't you?
Oh, I don't remember.
But yeah, I really enjoy riding in his, so it's like, okay, I got to get something going here.
Yeah, definitely the when you're sitting in the passenger seat and you just get a feel it, but you're not quite driving it, so it doesn't quite have the same touch.
Exactly.
He thinks he's got a brake on that passenger.
Exactly. Yeah,
so
there's
it kind of fires you up.
An indentation for my feet sometimes.
Slamming on it.
So the cool thing about my car is my wife, Linda, she used to drive around with this guy when she was like 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
She told the guy, if you ever decide to sell that car, let me know. So she was always on this guy about selling it. One day we're in Havelock at Bob's, and I heard this guy, you ready to buy that Camaro yet? I turned around and I'm like, how much you want for it? He said, $1,000. I said, I'll be over there tomorrow to pick it up.
Oh, the days of a...
So I went over there and I looked at it, and I mean, $1,000 car. I mean, there was holes in the floorboards, I mean, it needed a lot of work. And I wasn't so sure about it, but I knew if I didn't buy it, somebody was going to buy it. So, of course, I didn't have all the money to buy it back in that day, because that was almost 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So, of course, I had him. loaned me $500. Didn't have a job, but helped me buy that car.
It was money that I had saved up for my car.
Another guy loaned me a little bit of money, and I had a little bit of money. I bought the car, took it home, had it running half an hour after I took it home, did a tune-up on it. Then we took it out to his house and beat the shit out of it.
We sure did.
Man,
it leaked oil everywhere after that.
Yeah, it was a blast. We had a lot of fun with it.
It's by far the best feeling when you get a basket of bolts and then you have it running in 30 minutes and it runs good enough to have some fun with.
Yeah, it had a 327 punched out 60 over.
Okay.
Had a T10 close ratio T10 in it, straight shifter. And just a crap rear end in it, man. But that thing, I mean, it screamed. It was fun.
It was.
So eventually I just started working on it and working on it. Bought a small block, bought a big block. Kept on working on it.
Rebuilt another big block. Is that your second time through that one? Or I guess what is under the hood?
It's got a 427 big block solid roller. It's pushing about 400 to the rear end. Had a dynoed. It started out as a small block. Drove it around. I told my wife one day, I said, you know what? I want a different motor. She goes, well, why don't you just buy what you want? So the next morning I got on the phone to the bank, borrowed 10 grand, bought me a big block. So it started out as just a hydraulic roller big block. And then things went a little better, and then it got wrecked.
Yeah, we'll get to that
So
at some point.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun with the motors. I don't know how many times I've pulled the tranny out of it and the motor, and I can tear that car apart in my sleep,
Yeah.
And that's what I love about them. So they're so easy. So
very simple, and then once you've kind of done one or been through it a couple of times, it's literally just like this next step. You just have it all figured out.
Yeah. But the parts, finding parts for them is really hard. That's the worst part about it. Trying to find something decent.
Yeah, you're not finding. There's no more NOS parts for these out there, and if there are,
yeah, there is.
Well, I mean, at least they are.
Yeah, there is.
But
it just takes money.
Yeah,
So
when you're
lots
buying,
of money.
I forgot I was on Facebook Marketplace or it was in a Chevelle group, I think, and they had genuine GM quarter panels for like a 69 or 70 Chevelle or something like that, and I think they wanted like $7,000 or $8,000 a quarter.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like, oh boy, I think I paid $700 or $800 each quarter for my car in the early 2000s when I bought those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I replaced my fenders, I found that whole NOS front end for it.
Mm-hmm.
2,000 a fender, 2,000 for the hood, 1,000 for the inner fenders, but they were all NOS.
Mm-hmm.
They also had a sticker on them.
In the box.
So, well, the hood was still in the box. It was a original 68 Z28 Cal hood off of still in the box when I bought it. It came out of a guy bought 3 storage sheds in Oklahoma, and that hood came out of one of those barns in Oklahoma, and it was still in the box, like almost in perfect condition.
That's hard to believe. It just gets thrown in a shed.
But it cost me. So
yeah.
So yeah, I was real happy with it. So the whole front end on it's all back to NOS.
So speaking of the whole front end, so why'd you have to put a front end on it?
3 years ago on Halloween, I was coming down 48th, and I got to R Street, and a lady turned left in front of me, and I T-boned her at 35 miles an hour.
She didn't see you, hear you coming?
She told the cop that she thought it was okay to turn left on a yellow blinking arrow.
Oh, that was when they put those
when they first
stupid
came out,
lights in there.
So it screwed a lot of people up.
Yeah,
and,
okay.
Yeah, basically, I mean, I was 20 feet from her, and she turned in front of me. I had nowhere to go, and so yeah, that was probably one of the worst days of my life.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so that happened, and
He was pretty bummed out.
it pretty much totaled the front end, took out the subframe, Took out everything on the front end. So I had I learned a lot about insurance in old cars when that happened. If you have an old car, make sure it's, insured what it's worth, because if you don't, you don't have nothing. My first estimate when I got wrecked was $54,000.
Oh.
It was all original, So, when I showed that to the insurance company, they laughed at me because it was only valued at $30,000.
Yeah.
So I could only get anything up to $30,000. If they gave me $30,000, they'd give me a salvage title on it, and I didn't want that happening. And I'd have to buy the car back and everything else. So I ended up settling with them for like 22.5, which wasn't enough for the metal or the paint job. And to put it back cost me probably altogether about $45,000.
Damn.
That was including the 22 they gave me on top of another probably 25 out of my pocket.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of blood and sweat.
So needless to say, the whole front end's back to NOS. The rear bumper, the front bumpers are both NOS. The only thing that's not on it is the partial quarters and the tail pan. Other than that, and the trunk lid. So.
Yeah, it's definitely not cheap, man. Paint has skyrocketed since COVID, and like all the body panels and stuff, can't find them anymore.
No.
It's hard to believe that. I mean, I know paint's expensive and paint jobs are expensive, but it's hard to believe $45,000 for a front end or $54,000. It's crazy how fast it adds up.
Yeah.
That's just for the parts,
Well,
yeah.
you got the paint in there too, and then you got the labor, I mean, if I would have had to pay the labor to somebody to do that, I would have never been able to put it back on the road.
Yeah.
So luckily, I knew how to do a lot of that stuff. So,
because you were
my own labor.
I was following along on Facebook, I think, and you were. Every weekend or whatever, you'd be like, "Oh, we're a little closer together. The motor's going back in, or whatever."
Parts kept coming in the mail,
yeah.
So
Start sticking them on.
Thank you, FedEx guy, huh?
Well, when you have a couple of fenders shipped to you from Michigan,
yeah,
in a box truck, you don't know how you're going to get them. I've had a grill come to me look like a pretzel, all busted up 3 pieces, and just So got pretty lucky.
Yeah, when I ordered the parts for the Chevelle, I was probably 18, 19 years old or whatever. I think it was National Parts Depot, ordered a set of, repop fenders or whatever, and you could your shipping would save like $100 if it went to a loading dock instead of going to your residential address.
Yeah. So
my dad had a connection at the lumber yard, and so they went there, and I didn't unbox the fenders for a while because I wasn't ready for them. I was amassing parts. And so I go to fit the first fender, unbox it. There's just a massive dent right in the middle of it. I call them. They go, "Okay, not a problem. Just throw the fender away. We'll send you out a new one. Not a big deal." I was like, "Well, that's pretty awesome." A year and a half later, I go to do the other side. I don't know why it took me so long to do that. And I go, "I don't know what's going on with these fenders, but this other fender, the driver's side's bad too." And they're like, "Hold on, let me look." And they look up all the SKUs in the run. Like out of every single one they sold, they've only had one other one come back. And guess whose that one was? It was mine.
You're too lucky, right?
Yeah. So what ended up happening is they were just slamming the shit out of it with the forklifts at the lumber yard.
Oh wow!
Slamming them down on top of each other, and that's why that one kind of curled in a little bit.
Wow.
So. Yeah, like I say, you never know what you're going to get. I'd rather just unload it right in front of my house and just pay the extra $100 or whatever it is.
Anymore, you got to open the box too. Yeah. That's the thing about it.
Yeah, like having like when I bought the 427 for that car, I bought it from Summit. I got it for $8,900, carb to pan, no sales tax and no shipping, free shipping on it. That was before they started doing the sales tax on the internet. So, I mean, it was a steal of a deal.
Yeah.
So you can't get that. You you get that same motor for, I think, 12 now, 12 or 13. So.
Well, yeah, you had all the good bits and parts. So you just had to change out a few things. Would you wipe a cam?
I put a crawler cam in it. What else you do? Everything was actually pretty good. It's actually a GM motor, so it had all the good stuff in it. So you didn't have to do a whole lot with it. Heads were good, valves were good. It was mainly the cam and put new bearings on the bottom end and cleaned it up.
Just a little freshen up on it.
Runs pretty good.
Sounds good. Sounds amazing. Sorry.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, it's my neighbors don't like me.
And mine don't either for some reason. I'm not sure why. Yeah, I don't know. You can't beat just a big rowdy big block or small block or whatever, just high compression, big cam. Just it can't beat it. So I don't know. Part of me is torn. I would like to go back to that in the Chevelle and just have it have that good old fashioned American sound, but I'm probably in too deep at this point.
Turbo, you got a turbo on that yet?
It's just supercharged, so it's got an LSA blower on it.
How does it?
Yep. So I don't know what it makes. I haven't dynoed it yet and haven't really got it tuned yet, but I still beat the shit out of it.
Still drives.
Well, that's what it's for, right?
It's like you, right?
But we were messing around with a buddy that's got a Corvette that was putting down like 625 or something like that to the wheels, and we went from a roll from 70 miles an hour, and we stayed dead even. So I figure it's got to be close to 600.
That's cool.
So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what it'll do. I got a 12 bolt over there is going to go in it this winter. So it's still got the 10 bolt in it that came in it when I bought it. It's got 10 bolt Eaton Posi, 411s or 410s or whatever.
8.5 or 8.2 or.
It's a tiny guy.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's not going to hold up under too many clutch dumps with the drag radials on it. So I haven't tried to launch it yet or do any of that. So just blow the tires off first gear and then slam second gear.
Yeah, I've never done that in that car. I've never jumped on it, from a dead stop. I'm not sure what it's going to do. I mean, when I jump on it when it's going, it's different. But yeah, I'm not sure what it'll do on it. Never really done it.
It's definitely a lot harder on everything when you get that.
That's why I haven't done it.
You find the next weakest link for sure. So
because the drag radials, they grab pretty hard. So when it's running, I don't have any problems spinning them. But
yeah,
it's a lot of fun to run now. I don't beat the shit out of it too much anymore. Got too much money and I don't want to break it anymore.
It's a lot of work.
Last time I broke it, that's why I had the top end rebuilt, because just getting on, having fun, and I really wasn't doing anything. I'm just going too fast because I ran out of 4-speed.
Spinning the shit out of it.
I don't remember what I was racing, like a Suburban or something.
You should change that story to something a little cooler.
Had a bit of Volkswagen.
It was fun. Doesn't matter. He wanted to race.
Yeah, when the 283 blew up, because the Chevelle, I had a 283 60 over. It was like 12-to-1 pistons, and then I had like 49cc combustion chamber heads on it. So it was like 13.5-to-1, 600 lift roller cam. It was about as built as you could build it, and it was still a gutless monster. But I never, once $4,000 happened, it just never found a spot where it quit pulling. And I pulled it up to 82, I think, pretty religiously.
Wow. It didn't blow it up.
It did eventually have a rod break, but yeah, that thing was running the best it's ever ran, and there was I think it was a F-150 or whatever that was just messing with me a little bit on Cornhusker, and I was on my way to the birthday cruise, and so I just hammered on it, and it pulled so clean. Never felt the thing move that good. Not a miss, nothing. Going around the roundabout down by the stadium, spit the rod out the side of the pan. So yeah, it's always those stupid little cars that you got to floor it next to, and then something bad happens shortly after that.
Yeah. Well, I had that dynoed here just recently.
Where'd you go for the dyno?
I had John Wishman. He built the motor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he dynoed it for me. Tuned it. It dynoed at 6,500, 397 horse to 393 foot-pounds of torque at 146 miles an hour.
I don't think you had very much.
I'm not sure I do 146. I can't believe it was 146 in that four-speed.
I don't think you have that much force speed.
That's what I mean.
Well, he said he took it all the way up, so
yeah,
you got that mind. That's what you got it.
Yeah, so
I guarantee you that car feels a lot safer at 146 miles an hour on the dyno than it does at 146 miles an hour on the street.
Down. Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, 100 miles an hour to me, that thing is just, I don't even like doing that.
Yeah.
Little skinnies on the front.
Yeah, Chevelle starts coming up and just starts wandering a little bit, and it's like, okay, this is getting a little scary. And then
they're light.
Yeah. Starts getting vibration in the drivetrain somewhere, and I think I got that figured out. It was a pinion angle issue, but it's
nothing but a shell and a couple of wheels and a motor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're surprisingly, a lot. They look like big, heavy pieces of iron, but compared to all the modern vehicles, they're really pretty. They're about the same weight.
They actually are.
They are.
But they're, they might not have all the horsepower and not the other ones, but I would never trade that for anything, Could be a Lamborghini sitting there. I wouldn't trade it.
No, I don't think I would either, but I'm not a huge fan of.
I went to a show here. I was at that, the Royal Grove, that Sunday Fun Day cruise here a while back. I pulled in there waiting for him. And that, Mo Shakir, is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
He come walking up to me and he's like, hey, come over here. I want you to park up front by these guys, and that's where the Lambos and everything were. And so we went and parked up there, and he pulled up, and a little ways through the show, somebody says, hey, start him up. Whatever, so all these guys start them up, they're ween, 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 ween. All these guys are over there videoing and everything, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, watch this. So I hop in the Camaro, and I fired it up, and it's like, boom, 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 and all these people turn and look at me, and I rev it up to about 6,500, man, and these people are just crazy. They all turn, and they come walking around, and it was pretty cool, though.
It's definitely an exhaust tone you can feel versus kind of just hear it for sure.
The whap, 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 whap.
Yeah, they forgot about them Lambos real quick. But it was pretty cool. So
saw that one video where they were doing that with all those little Hondas around, and the guy gets on his T-bucket, and he just rips, and everybody's like, whoa.
That's about what it was like. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of the young kids probably they don't know what the hell, like, a high compression, motor sounds like with little to no exhaust, and how you feel it in your chest. They're usually listening to what they drive every day. There's none of these cars on the street daily. They never see anything like that for the most part, and then what they watch on TV, it's all modern stuff anyway. So
yeah, it's all about the cubic inches. Right?
Now all they drive is Hondas.
You got these little pop cans in these Hondas, and then you got you got some real, exactly. There's our difference right there.
I think that's a 1.5 liter, and that's a 283 60 over.
That's why you get the pop right there. There isn't much there, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's still
pretty
small.
wild.
That's still small bore on that 283. So.
Yeah, that's pretty wild though. I mean, that's what I don't know. I remember having a Volkswagen, and I remember it had pistons like that too. And
were they that big?
Yeah, I think they were about that big.
I had a Volkswagen too. First thing I started driving, 65 VW Bug, 4-speed. That's one
Was you the guy with me when we were going down O Street and got in trouble with a couple of guys? I ended up taking that Volkswagen around backwards at about 30th to go down towards the north, because these guys were giving us crap, and of course, got to be a tough guy. And I just reversed right there against the traffic and pulled back in there, and everybody was freaking out. I'd do third gear hole shots in the car wash with this little Volkswagen. I had these tall studded snow tires. You got sparks just flying out the back end. It was a fun car to drive.
Yeah. And what was that?
It was a VW Bug.
Oh, okay.
We used to jump mine.
Huh?
We used to jump mine. Now, that was like back in, that was in, had to have been late 80s, back in the Highlands before they did all the building out there. They used to have all sorts of trails and stuff. You go driving out there. And
the Coke Factory was what we always called it. Like the dirt track or dirt trails?
No, it was right off of, First and Superior.
Oh, that'd be where like Cabela's is.
No, there was a truck depot down at the bottom. You used to go down this big hill, and you could turn around down there, and you could come back up that hill, and you could pull all four wheels off the ground when you came back up to the top of that hill.
Yeah.
We used to run the Volkswagen down there, take the Honda down there.
That was on cement or
dirt?
Dirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had trails. I think that's got to be damn near the same spot. We always called it the Coke Factory, and there was like 4x4 trails back there. There was like a bowl that went down into a pond and all sorts of stuff. That was in the early 2000s or whatever. So
this would have been way before then.
Yeah, we're old guys, remember?
Well, when you described the area, I was like, well, crap, that's been around for a while, and it probably turned into that.
Taking 4x4s up and right there behind Cabela's. There's one girl broke her arm because she stuck her arm out when the
fell over.
Yeah. That was quite the time.
That was when they first started building out there.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. Take the Honda out there and drive it around. This big old sand pit, basically what it was. Drove in there with the Honda and dropped the whole front end in. It was snowing there. Drove it in there. Just dropped the whole front end in there. And like we had like four guys in there, and we just picked up the front of the Honda and moved it out of there. So, yeah. We had a lot of fun back in the days. That Volkswagen I was talking about, me and a friend were out road hunting in that thing, and we're out by Valparaiso, slid through a intersection. It had just started snowing. It was icy out. Slid through an intersection and got T-boned on my side. We had guns in the back, and they were still loaded. So, of course, the guns went off, blew a hole through the ceiling. Fuck, it was probably about that big. Blew out the back window, blew the side window out, broke the guns, threw my buddy out of the car, threw me out of the car. I broke my nose. He broke his collarbone. Knocked me out. I don't remember anything. I woke up in the hospital with this thing on my nose, tape, breathing, and all these tubes in me. But yeah, it was crazy.
That's pretty wild.
We were out road. Of course, we were out road hunting. I mean, that was back in, like I said, the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. So back when you could do stuff like that and get away with it.
Yeah, you bring up Valparaiso. I was telling... I was with a friend, Kerry McDonald is his name. He's not with us anymore, but he had a Nova, a 70 Nova. And this thing, he was one of the big racers back then, Kenny Barton and Ernie. And we were at Valparaiso. And, of course, we were just doing the road tripping thing, too, And he went down, Valparaiso's got that really wide main
drag
street.
Yep.
And he just hammers on this thing, flying through, and of course slams on the brakes when you get to 79. And guess who was in town? Good old Smokey Bear. So he followed us for a while, finally pulled us over. And, back in the 80s, you could get away with some of that stuff. And he said, it's time for you guys to go home. So
yeah, get out of here.
We got out of there, but I tell you what, those marks were there for the longest time because we, of course, had to go check it out later.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. You're going to go back and check out your handiwork, for sure.
But that Nova was streetable and doing low tens at Kearney. So, it was...
Sucker moved.
It was pretty fast, yeah. I had a lot of fun in that car, too. Back then, you could afford gas.
Yeah, that's why when I had the 283 in the Chevelle, I had to run race gas in it, and I ended up converting it to E85 because you could get it for $1.89 a gallon, and it's like 105 octane roughly. So it was like, now I can afford to drive the car again, because shit, I'd put $100 in it of 100 or 110 or whatever the hell I'd thrown at Ernie's, and then it was
$8 a gallon.
it was like 10 or
$9 a
12.
gallon.
Yeah, it was like 10 or 12 when I did that.
Oh, was that out of the ground or what he had in the barrel there?
Pump,
Big
ain't it?
100. I think
It was
he's got
100 at the
100,
pump.
yeah.
It would
There you go.
depend on if they were open or not or what. I don't remember, but sometimes I get 110, 112, and then other times it'd just be 100. Maybe I'd water it down a little bit, but yeah, it was it was like 2 laps up and down O Street, and I was like, all right, well, that was fun. Well, maybe next weekend.
I got a good story about Ernie. We were out at 14th and Agnew Road. We did Halloween drags, and we were out there all racing. And Ernie had his car. He had a El Camino, silver El Camino, and this thing was awesome. And we're all parked there, and the sheriff came out there, and he decided he was going to break things up. Well, he told Ernie if he starts the car, of course, no exhaust.
Mm-hmm.
He just gave Ernie all these ultimatums, and we pushed this car a quarter of a mile. 10 or 12 of us, and our legs were so burning.
Yeah.
And that cop stayed there until that car was on the trailer. It was so fun.
Oh,
my
that
gosh.
sucks.
We had rubber legs the next day.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Now people pay money to do that. I think it's called CrossFit.
I don't pay it. Well, yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun. There was a lot of drag racing at 14th and Agnew Road. There's a couple good spots.
14th and Agnew Road. So I know Wishman's on Agnew, right?
Yeah.
Which way did you guys go?
We went off of 14th, you went east.
Okay.
And you get across the bridge, and then there was, for the longest time, we had this white paint mark on the telephone pole, so you knew where the end of the quarter mile was.
We went, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was North 14th. This was in the early 2000s too, and my brother was actually out, and he had his Chevelle, which he's got a 72 Chevelle that sounded pretty rowdy back in the day, and I was in my Prelude, which it's not that one, but it looks like the car that's parked outside there, and there's 14th Street T somewhere. It might not have been 14th Street. We drove forever. And I thought it was 14th.
I don't know if it does. If it does, it's a long way.
It was
down.
a long drive.
It's
It
a
was-
long ways down if it
And
tees.
there was some spot
You
where,
go past Valparaiso on 14th, I know that.
yeah, and we went out there. It was around 14th. Maybe it wasn't 14th. The road teed or turned to gravel maybe at some point, and that's why I thought it teed. And so we were all parked there. There was a couple good races. My buddy raced. His car blew his clutch up and that and stuck on the side of the road, and the sheriff shows up. So we go down to help him try to get his car going because it's dead in the water. Didn't know what was wrong with it. Decide the clutch is completely gone, so he jumps in with me. We turn back the way we came and leave his car on the side of the road, and we start heading back. Turn the corner. Sheriff's got somebody pulled over. Steps out in the middle of the street, points at me, and goes, "Pull over, license, registration, all the good stuff." Hand it to him. He goes, "You wouldn't by chance be related to the Ryan Early in front of you, would you?" And I go, "Yeah, that's my brother." He got pulled over for like open exhaust or whatever. He was the loudest one when he pulled off, and they go, "What do you think your parents are gonna think when you're out here, like midnight or whatever on a Saturday night street racing?" I go, "I think they're probably going to be okay with it. It's better than us going to parties and getting drunk, I think."
Exactly.
And he's goes, "Well, how about we call them and find out?" And I was like, "Well, this sucks." Called my dad. He called him, woke them all up, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
That was it, huh?
And then we got a talking to in the morning where he was like, "Don't ever let me get a phone call in the middle of the night from the sheriff again." He's like, "Oh, all right, I'll do my best." But that 14th Street racing out there reminded me of that when me and my brother both got pulled over by the same cop.
Yeah, that was a good spot to race. And then of course, 77 was a good spot. Yeah,
because
77 and out by Pawnee Lake.
126 on the backside of Pawnee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's about where I live, so
it makes it nice
I
and
know
easy.
about that. Yeah, I'm pretty close to that area, so.
Yeah, I don't know that I could drive to that in the daytime, but at nighttime, I know exactly where we used to race out there because I never went out there in the daytime. It was always at night.
Yeah, it's a good spot to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the road's pretty decent too, so.
Yeah, I miss IGO, or old school 77, as us young kids called it.
IGO, huh?
Well, because there's that IGO van moving
Oh.
storage there, so we always called it old school 77. But
Yeah.
Corey Petska told us about the Halloween races one year. We went out there, and that was pretty cool.
That wasn't on Mexico then. It was actually on 77.
Mm-hmm. This has been a long time ago. This is like when I first got the Chevelle done. I don't think I even took it out there, or it was getting done. It was probably in the 2005, 2006. It was like all the quote unquote old timers to us 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids, is all the old timers would bring all their muscle cars out, and I was pretty badass to see all those things go down the road.
I miss those times.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you see them out there doing the car shows and what have you, but you never get to see, you know, them coming out and showing off.
Yep.
Yeah, McCormick, or the new spot, or everybody, that's crazy. It's still, there's some fast ass cars out there now. You gotta have 1,000 horsepower to go out there and play.
We went out there a couple times and
Got chased
shoot
out
away.
right away.
Yeah, they chased us right out. It's
But
like, darn it.
then Sunday they go out there and race all day long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know what the deal is. I mean, the minute we go out there at night, Saturday night, yeah, cops coming down the road with their light bars on. You guys get out of here. You're going to get it for trespassing, blah, 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 blah. But then Sunday, I'm like, I get a phone call. Hey, come out here, dude. They're racing. They're going to start now. And they race from dawn to dusk.
Mm-hmm.
It was like,
Went
what
out to a
the
cash
hell?
days out there. That was pretty cool.
I never had the chance to actually go out there and see some real good races. You
Just
know,
get
because
on YouTube. It's all on YouTube.
Yeah.
I wonder too that there's half the time there's a bunch of idiots that go out there too. If the people that actually want to race don't just call it in
Yeah.
and just break it up,
Yeah.
go hang out in a parking lot for 30 minutes and come back.
Get the garbage out.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Because I know we did that, or we used to just yell cops and start running towards our cars, and then it'd freak everybody out, and then half the people would leave.
Not a bad idea.
Just get a light bar.
Yeah.
Put a light bar on a Jeep.
You got to have that one guy come through that has an old Crown Vic, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about driving crazy and or whatever, but or getting tickets. We were that Camaro. I don't know what it is about the cops in that Camaro. They love that Camaro because. We were coming down 40th, going south, and we got to Randolph, and we turned. It would have been east on Randolph, and we started heading. I mean, I just got on it and I hammered on it. You know, there's a slight little hill right there. I don't know, second, third gear, and had the cutouts open. And this, I get up to the top of that hill, and there's two cops standing on the corner, a guy and a lady. I could swear the lady was going to jump out in the middle of the street and try and stop me. But the guy, I don't know, but he stepped in front of her, and this guy, he just like this to me, and I'm like, yeah, we're gone. But I mean, they would have got me. They would have got me for everything, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they let me go. They just said, keep on going, you know. And that happened to me a couple of times. So I probably could have had like 10 tickets.
Yeah.
So,
I shouldn't say anything. I haven't got a speeding ticket or any sort of moving violation ticket for a while. But
yeah.
there was a couple times I came within 1 or 2 points of losing my license.
I've done that a couple of times.
You know, the
We're
only
not
vehicle
going
I
there.
ever got caught speeding in constantly was a square body pickup with a six popper in it. You know, it seemed like for some reason I was always speeding in that thing. I got all kinds of tickets in that, but nothing else.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the speedometer was off on that.
Mine were always second generation Camaros. I bought a first gen. They just leave me alone now.
Yeah.
You had a lot of Camaros. He's had quite a few Camaros.
Couple. 79, a 77, 76. And then,
An older one. Was it 74?
no. I think that's I think I had 4, 69, 77, 78, 79. Or 76, 78, and 79. But I think only one of them came home. It was actually a car I bought. The other ones came home in pieces. I just put them back together and drove them. Hey, they were awesome. Didn't cost me nothing, you know, so.
Yeah, you had that little small block that was just a runner. I can't remember what size that was.
That was in that. That was in the Camaro, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
That was that little 350 I bought. Bought a little 350 crate motor. I swear to God, they gave me the wrong motor. I had it running in.
Good problem to
I
have.
had it running in that car for a while before I bought the big block. Running like a 650 Demon on it, and man, that thing screamed.
Oh, it did, man. It was
For a little
crazy.
small block. Yeah, and then I turned around. I turned around, pulled it out, bought the big block, and I sold that motor for $1,200 to a friend of the family, relation to the family. He took it and put it in the corner of his garage for like 3 years. Called me back one day. Hey, you want to buy that motor back? I'm like, what do you want for it? He goes, what you bought it for? I'm like, I'll be over tomorrow to pick it up. So I bought it back, and then I sold it to Kevin Bennett. I sold it to Boogie.
Mm.
He needed a motor. He wants to build something new, so I sold it to him for. I sold it to him for like $1,200. I think I sold it to him. Same thing I bought it for, just to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It was a screamer, though.
That was a good motor.
Holy
Well, it's
cow.
like your motor, that little motor you got in your Camaro. What that thing? Tell them about your little motor you got.
Yeah, what do you got? What are you working with?
It's a crate 350 with not much in it, really.
Yeah,
I didn't
but
think it was.
Tell him the story about that motor, where you got it and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, so back in the day, of course, around the 85, 86, buddy of mine bought a crate motor from Summit. We put a different cam in it, and I don't remember what size it is, but we put a cam in it, put it in his pickup, and he went out, got drunk, and ran it up the ass end of a Miata, I think it was. Yeah, got the DUI, the whole works, you know. And so I told him I'll just buy the whole truck, because the front end was trashed on it. And I took the engine and transmission out of it and just sat it in the corner of the garage. And there's where
Yeah.
it's sat, you know. Some guy came by and goes, hey, he says, I want that the cab of that truck. And I said, yeah, go ahead, take it. But I want the back end for a trailer. So the guy takes the truck, makes a trailer out of the back end, gives it back to me, and for free. You
There you
know,
go,
what
yeah.
the heck, you know. And then when Dan and I pulled it out, I did the subframe off everything too. And we put that engine in there, and it fired right up. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it sat there in, what, 30 years?
It sat there,
35
yeah.
years?
Well, that motor sat in there for, at least 10 or
Forever.
15 years in the corner.
Yeah, and that thing popped off. No smoke, no nothing. I mean, it just... all I did was spray WD-40, you know, and I put it off the site, duct tape on the intake, and away we go, you know.
I don't even know if you did that, did you?
Yeah, I had duct tape on it. But we pulled the original 327 out. I still have that.
Yeah.
I still have the Power Glide. And then just through that, there was a transmission out of that same pickup. I had Blue Valley just go through and make sure everything was good before I threw it in. And
Is that the same tranny in there? Out of
That's
that
the
pickup?
same.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
it's got a little punch to it too. But yeah, I mean, it's got more, in my opinion, more bark than bite.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. I mean,
Yeah. It'll spin the tires. That's all that
Oh,
matters.
don't-
It'll do
That's
for
really
now.
all. That's really all that matters.
It'll
but I
throw a little
rebuilt
smoke.
the 10 bolt, and I don't have a lot of horsepower, so I wasn't so worried about throwing something else in there. And it's held up. Actually, I had the shop do that for me.
Yeah.
So, it runs all right. I definitely can't keep up with him, though. That's for sure.
Well, the thing about it is when I didn't have my Camaro, we just drive around in his Camaro.
Yeah.
So then when he didn't
Take
have his
turns.
Camaro, he just, because it all started him, driving around in my Camaro with me all the time.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point, you got a Camaro home, let's get yours back together, So eventually we got his all back together, redid the whole front end, and got it started, and yeah, like you said, now he can't quit driving the damn thing. Everybody asked him, when are you going to paint it? When I want to.
It's painted enough.
I told him,
It's painted enough.
I told him, drive it, I mean, get it running, get it driving. You might die tomorrow and never get to drive the damn thing,
Yeah.
Enjoy it while you can. Who
Well,
cares? You don't have to paint it.
The best motivation for any project, too, is actually getting to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of motivation.
I do enjoy it. I drive it everywhere.
It's-
A lot of people know the car, you know.
Driving a car like that, it's a stress reliever because when you hop in it, I mean, everybody's your friend. Everybody wants to say hi. Everybody wants to wave. Everybody wants to talk. I mean, there's a story behind it.
Oh, and any bad day you have just melts away behind that accelerator pedal. Just,
Yeah.
Well,
It's therapy.
yeah,
You know,
I
It
agree.
really is.
you have a car like that. I was out at Culver's one night. We were out there. There's another car from Beatrice that's painted that same color. He was parked like 2 cars down from me. This guy comes walking up, and he keeps walking between our cars. And I'm like, I kept watching him. He kept walking. He'd walk over there, look at that one. He'd walk back over, look at mine. I'm like, what's this guy doing? And I said something to him about it. And I finally went over to this guy, and I asked him, I said, what are you doing? He comes walking over, and he goes, well, I think this is my old car. And I'm like, no way. He goes, yeah. He goes, I really do. He goes, I really think this is my old car. I'm like, dude, you'd have to have like a VIN or something to prove to me that this is your old car. The guy pulls out his phone. He walks over on my car, and he looks at it, and he walks back over to me, and he goes, I look at it, and I about fell over. He had the VIN on a sales receipt from 1977 on his phone for my car.
Really?
What are the odds,
Yeah.
He owned that car 40 years ago.
Was that car originally that color?
That car was originally that color, but he stripped the green off of it and painted it blue. He didn't like the green, so he painted it blue. When I bought the car, it had a lot of that blue paint still on it. It was like primer and blue. I mean, I have pictures of it if you want to see pictures of it, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And the guy's like, yeah, he goes, well, I was hoping that the car was still around Lincoln, and it hadn't been restored because, I'd really like to buy the car back. And I'm like, and he goes, what's a car like that worth? I'm like, 50 grand. He goes, well, I wouldn't give you 50 grand for that. I'm like, well, I wouldn't sell it to you. You didn't ask. I'll just tell you right up, So, yeah, and then here, 4 months ago, I got a call from this guy's son because I gave him my number, of course. And,
Yeah.
hey, I really want to buy that car back, blah, 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 blah. So I just, it was on a voicemail, and I just got off, blocked, and, I'm not going to deal with it, because, like I said, I'd never get rid of it. I'd never sell it. It's in my family forever. It'll get willed to my daughter, my granddaughter, somebody that, can appreciate it. So.
Yep. Absolutely. They're getting harder to. Well, I don't know if they're getting harder to find, but they're getting harder to find for people like me that wants to get into one of these, because I can't afford to go buy a $50,000 car or $25,000 car, or even that's going to be like, ugh, I'd like to find like the $3,500 one that needs a bunch of work, but you can't
Good
find
luck.
those. You can't find those anymore.
Well, you get on some of those Facebook pages, you can kind of once in a while find a deal, but yeah, you're right. You just can't find them. I bought mine in '83. It was funny because I walked by this car every day going to school, and I kept telling the guy that owned it, because it just sat there, in the garage or in the driveway. I kept telling the guy, I want to buy it, and he passed away, and his wife called me up, said, I'm selling the car, do you want to buy it? And I'm like, yeah, I want to buy it. I was just starting college, and so I went and bought it. And my dad was furious with me because I used my college money for it. But the car is from Dutos here in Lincoln.
Yeah.
And I'm the second owner on it. So
That's pretty wild.
It's pretty wild, yeah. And when I first got it, of course, you know, it was just a beater. Had M50s. I put M50s on it, and by the time I got done with those, they were looking like slicks. It was terrible. And of course, you know, did the O Street thing. Yeah, we all did the O Street thing. I remember going down between 33rd and 40th, and I don't remember what the heck we were doing, but the old hood came up, flapping in the wind, busted my windshield, and I pulled in at 40th Street, slammed the hood down, and away we went.
Is that why that windshield was always broken?
That's why the windshield was broken.
I was always wondering.
And you know what? That hood is still on there.
It didn't fuck the hood up?
It didn't. Well, it did a little bit, but not enough to worry about, you know. So
That's something that scares the hell out of me.
yeah.
There's a hood coming up on that old Ford we got. It's a 04 Suburban frame and engine and everything underneath it. It's a 65 F100. I don't know if you've seen it. It's white and teal.
I don't think I have.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in a couple of those F100 groups, and the horror stories, those hood latches just randomly letting go because they're not meant to go that fast, and now everybody's Crown Vic swapping them and everything. And I'll do 90 down the interstate, and it just drives like a brand new vehicle, but it's an old truck, so I got a ratchet strap underneath there, like, holding the hood down.
Insurance.
Yeah. Right before we went to Dubuque this last year, I was scrolling through one of those pages, and the dude said he was going 60 miles an hour with a 60 mile an hour headwind, and the hood popped open and crushed, just folded, wrapped around the windshield and crushed down the roof and like caved the roof in. And I was like, yeah, I don't want that to happen. So
Yeah, it's scary when it happens because then you look like a real dork. And then you got to do what you got to do because, you know, it happens so fast. So
yeah.
You know, back in the day, I did some pretty crazy, stupid stuff with that Camaro. I got one girl that won't ever ride with me again because we went sliding through Malcolm one night on the curves. And
Yeah.
I went airborne.
I'm
But it was still fun.
I'm surprised you ride with me anymore sometimes.
Yeah, I know. There's been a couple times I'm pretty sure we went airborne. Man.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I get onto O Street, and it's like, first thing I want to do is somebody pulls up next to me. I'm like, rah! Last time I did that, with like some kids on the side of the road, and I'm freaking jumping on it, and getting smacked at the same time. He goes,
Yeah.
can you see them kids? I'm like, what kids?
He was too busy slamming gears, and I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, it's hard to not stoplight race for sure because I did that forever. That was like the thing to do. Just go out there and talk some shit and see if you came out on top.
Yeah, we did the 77, Highway 77 thing a lot.
Yeah.
That was the best place. And then East O Street, too, before, you know, they did all the development out there, 84th and all that. That was a good place to go, too.
Yeah, we went to 84th and Holdridge because that was undeveloped out there, and the flashing lights on Highway Bluff Road.
Yeah.
That's where, because old school 77 always used to get busted. So we just went a little farther out so that it wasn't getting turned in by the business owners and stuff like that for people parking in the lots. But
yeah, you know, back then you could do it, but we were a little bit smart about how we did it, too, you know, so we didn't get hurt. Some of these kids nowadays, they either don't have any fear or they're just not quite all there. I think the second one.
I don't think
You're talking about me.
I don't think they got hurt enough as kids, you know, doing stupid shit on their bikes or whatever to realize that, you know, like speed and the ground have consequences or whatever.
Yeah.
I have no fear.
I know that.
I like speed.
I like acceleration is by far my favorite drug, and if somebody's right next to me, I will not be the one to lift unless it's like very, very, very scary.
Never fast enough.
Yeah.
I made it faster. I want it faster yet.
But
Yeah, there's been a few other times other than the time with the cops there that he told you about that, man, I thought we were gone. And he holds it pretty good. That car actually holds the line really nice. But holy cow, man, he never let up. And there's been a couple times where I'm doing this with my foot on the brake on the passenger side, you know.
Timing the truck out on 84th with the barricades.
Oh, yeah, the barricades. Oh, man.
That was
tell
pretty
them about
wild.
that one.
That was
That's a
pretty
good one.
wild. Oh yeah, we were coming from we're coming south to north on 84th, and we're at the 84th and Havelock. No, we were further.
Yeah,
Was that where?
just right about there.
84th and Havelock, and we took off from that light. I was in my old green C20, 70 C20, and I don't remember what was next to us, but man, we hammered it. And we took off, and we were going, and we got up to a point where the barricades started coming in on us, and man,
The cones.
or the cones, or whatever they were. And
Yeah.
he's sitting over there. I don't know what he was thinking, but I wasn't letting up. I was gonna go. I didn't care if they hit the barricades or the cones or whatever. But yeah, I finally had to let up and let him go through. But I mean, we were nose to nose, and yeah, I was like, you can hit him because I'm not going to let you. I'm not letting you in front of me.
But the cones were on my side, you know. After we got done with that, I just felt the sweat on my forehead because I thought we were going
That old, that pickup, man, that thing's great. I was coming down, I was coming down 56th Street, and there was this lady in this other car. She wanted to race me. I don't know what kind of car it was. So I raced her. Man, we raced all the way down 56th Street, all the way to A Street, kept going down 56, and you know where it goes on to Cotner? Mm-hmm. Well, you got that one lane that goes over to the left. I'm watching this lady. I'm watching behind her, and she's jumping over into that lane before it turns into the turn lane. I'm like, oh, I don't think so. So I jump way over there. I mean, we're probably doing 50 miles an hour when we go into that lane. Well, there's a car in front of me. This car decides to jump into the left lane and slam on his brakes. So all I could do was slam on my brakes. And we're doing 50 miles an hour. I slammed on my brakes, and that truck went all the way around, and I'm literally facing the lady that I'm racing. She just drives by me, and I'm like, man. And I mean, if I would have hit the curb, I would have flipped it.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally flipped that truck. But yeah, I mean, somebody was watching out for me that day because, I mean, perfect 180 right there in those two lanes before you turn onto Cotner right there.
Yeah.
Oh, it was crazy. But yeah. I went home after that, and I'm like, I parked that thing. I was done. But yeah, it's got a little race motor in it, that little green truck.
Does it?
It's got a little 350 ZZ6 in there. And yeah, that truck's light anyway. And it took me forever to get that thing running because it's actually made to go out on a racetrack.
Yeah.
Because it had a single plane on it. I could never get that motor running for anything. Finally messed with the manifolds, switched manifolds, 2-3 different manifolds, and I finally stuck a dual plane on there, and I got it running finally. Got it running right, and yeah, that thing's great. It'll do a hell of a burnout.
That's the important part, really.
I got them Goodyear Wranglers on that thing all the way around, so that way when I burn one off, I can just keep switching them. Because it'll frickin' smoke them.
It will. For a long time, too. That's the funny. It's a stump puller.
Yeah, like I said, I have no fear when I'm driving. I don't know why, but it's just all about speed to me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very similar in that aspect where it's just like I want to feel the acceleration. I want to be pinned back in the seat a little bit.
I got a 99 Trans Am for that. My Camaro is not even close to what that thing will do. You know, it's got an LS in it, so yeah, it moves down the road pretty good.
T56?
No, it's an automatic.
Automatic?
Yeah, it's not a WS6, but
Yeah, but it's got somebody put the Ram Air already had that as an option on it, so it's got the Ram Air on it already.
yeah, it does pretty good. I got a good story about that one. I was going down 140 or 126 right there by Pawnee Lake, and I
Okay,
thought, you know, I'll see how fast this thing will go. And I'm ripping down there, and of course, it's a convertible, so it's just like a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard this, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And I slow down, and I go back to the house, and I washed the car off, you know, and all this water was going in around the back window of my convertible top that it only had like maybe 8 inches on each side where the window was attached to the convertible top.
Yeah.
It's literally pulled it out. So I haven't had it up to 140 ever since then.
Learned your lesson on that one a little bit.
I did. But that was pretty funny. I'm like, oh, now I got to fix something else. You know, I just got the car too, so I didn't know what it would do, and I know it'll do fine 140 at least.
Yeah. If I get another car, I probably would get the 4th gen LS1 Camaro, probably Super Sport. I think maybe a WS6.
I tell you
I
what,
always kind of like those cars.
I really like it too. I didn't pay squat for this thing. I got lucky, and like we called it my wife's midlife crisis car, but I drive it a lot more than she does.
She don't even drive it.
She doesn't
anymore.
know.
She don't drive it at all.
And she wants to get rid of it too. Of course, you know, she's pushed me to get my Camaro done, so I get rid of the other car. And I'm like, yeah, that's another reason why it doesn't get painted.
Yeah, that was my excuse to build the F100, the sub 100, was because that's my wife's truck. So she's got her truck, but really I probably drive it 5 times more than she does. She'll drive it every once in a while on a cruise or something if we're all going together and taking all of our cars. But yeah, it was just another reason to build another car.
So you part of the Kingsmen then? Or?
I am not. I'm just friends with all of them.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just kind of a loner, I guess, in that aspect.
Yeah, we're not part of any.
I guess
group
technically
either.
speaking, I am a member of Havelock Hot Rods, but
That's what I am too.
He
we
is
don't
too.
do anything.
I got a plaque.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to get around, get together and do something, but it's kind of like we used to be in one Camaro Zinc, long time ago with that was with Kerry Fox and all them guys.
Yeah, but it kind of dissolved, and so
Those people. Yeah.
you know how
He still
sometimes
keeps the-
clubs get, you know, they
He still keeps the site going. You know, he started the site
have a
back
web
up.
page. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a Facebook page. Try to get all the Camaro people in the local area, just
Yeah.
and I mean we've got 100 people, but nobody wants to do anything. You know, I like to get out and do stuff, and so
We post stuff on there, letting people know about the car shows and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, I say every year, I'm like, this year I'm going to go out and do stuff. I'm going to get to the track. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it's like, it hasn't happened. you
yeah.
know.
too much
You
to
know,
do.
some
The days
other
are,
priority stuff.
days are
taking
going
over.
faster.
Yeah, the older you get, the faster they go.
Well aware. Yeah, there's not enough time in the day for sure. So,
that is for sure. Well, the thing is, though, is we got to enjoy life as it is right now, because, like Dan said earlier, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
These guys are dying earlier, man.
Yeah.
It's like, I know a lot of widowed women, you know. I mean, their husband passed away early. My dad, hell, he's been gone for almost like 12 years already, you know. And it's like, I told him, man, hop in that thing, drive it, you know.
And I do.
One of these days you're going to have to stop and work on it and paint it.
I
though.
it's a good winter project if you can drive it.
It's cold.
He's got a guy that'll paint it for him, though.
I do
so,
have a guy that will paint it.
and he's a
Just
hell of
do
a
the-
nice guy, hell of a good painter, and does all his own shit.
Yeah, he's very, very good.
Work, motor work, everything. So
Nice.
You might know him, Todd Miller.
Todd Miller. Name sounds familiar. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah.
he's
You-
got
you
what,
seen
a
his car.
60, no.
Oh
what is
man,
it?
he's got a lot of GTOs.
Yeah, he's a goat fan.
GTO, and he don't put Chevrolet motors in his cars either.
Yeah.
You know, he's a true Pontiac man.
Yeah.
If you're a GTO guy, you're
All the
a
number
GTO
matching.
guy. You can't be anything else. If you're into GTOs, you're 100% into GTOs.
Yeah.
They're nice.
Every
too.
single GTO person I've ever met has been that way.
He does beautiful paint. He really does. And so eventually, when I get ready, he said he'd help me do that. So I appreciate that. That's what friends are about too, you know. And in this, I should say, hobby, you find friends that will do that. Dan, he's worked on I don't know how many other people's vehicles, you know, help him out. And he
First
does
gen
it-
Camaros. We
Yeah,
built. I don't know how many
first
friends I
gen.
did. I did Earl's, yours, mine. You know, I mean, and I'm not going to say, hey, you owe me anything. You know, it's just
No,
being
it's
friends.
actually
I mean,
kind of fun getting together and bullshitting
yeah,
and
I mean,
accomplishing something.
I help you, you help me. You know, that's what it's all about.
It cuts the time in half, you know, sort of, you know what so to speak. So, but yeah, he helps a lot of people out, and
I think he's the only one that's ever driven that Camaro. Besides, yeah, seriously, my wife can't drive it because she can't drive a stick. So, yeah, I think he's probably been the only one ever.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's the same thing goes my way too. You're the
No,
only
I
one
can't
that's
drive
ever
yours because your
driven
seat's
mine.
too far back and I can't pull it forward enough. Problem being short.
Yeah.
You need to weld some attachments to your pedals.
Like I said, that's what friends are all about, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I agree 100%. Like all the group of friends I run with, the car guys, you know, or whatever, they're all into cars. They'll give you the shirt off their back. They'll let you borrow the trailer. They'll loan you any tool you need or whatever, and come help you, give you a hand if you need it, you know, and without expecting anything in return. But I like getting together. That's one thing I told all them. I was like, this year I want to call me up if you need help with something. I'll call you guys. Let's start trying to work as a group a little bit, you know, because we all kind of just turned into loners a little bit working on our cars. And back in the day, we used to always go wrench with our buddies, and it was like a fun time to hang out and bullshit and shoot the shit and get something done and accomplish something as a team. So I'd like to start doing that a little bit more. So
And everybody's so busy. That's what happens, you know. Life happens.
yeah,
You just got to take that time and do it, you know.
Getting older, I just had a first grandbaby, so, you know, I'm pretty excited about that. Got to get a baby seat for the Camaro now.
A 5-point harness, right?
Yeah,
we just got rid of all the baby seats in the Chevelle not too many years ago.
So, yeah, that'll be kind of cool.
Well, you know, it's funny. He gives his daughter rides in that thing, and she always has a grin on her face when she goes for a ride.
She loves that car.
Yeah, she sure does.
I think
It's
she's
a lot
doing-
of fun.
My wife, she'll ride. She rode with me a few times, and one night it was it was a Memorial Day cruise. Everybody was out on O Street, and I turned in there by Walgreens, and she told me don't do any burnouts. Well, I ran into somebody I knew, of course, and first thing I did, burnout. Whack! I told you not to do any burnouts. So yeah, she doesn't really like to ride in it a whole lot anymore.
Yeah,
Once in a while, she get a little better, but I don't do that anymore to her. So
Yeah,
I
don't dare take my car out on Memorial Day cruise anymore, man. Last time, it was 2 years ago, we went out there. Dude, it was a shit show, man. There was cars popping off cookies in intersections, and truck whipped a shitter, drove over the top of another car, slammed into him, backed up, like wasn't paying attention when they were whipping the shitter, and just totally T-boned somebody right in their front driver's wheel, backed up, drove over their hood because it's a lifted Silverado or F-150 or something, and then just tore ass down the street, hit the back roads, and just disappeared. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not taking anything that I value out here because this shit ain't worth it. These guys are assholes.
That's why we take his, because it's in primer.
Well, usually, you know, when the idiots come out, you know, we park. That's pretty much how it works. And
Oh yeah, there was
I don't take my car out there.
car backed up into another car supposedly in a parking lot, and then everybody got real ghetto. Everybody was trying to fight the drive. I was like, we got to go. Let's go, Jackson. We're leaving now because I'm not about to, have to be involved with this, this street violence or whatever.
Yeah, well, it just isn't any fun anymore. What was that cruise that we went to? Was that a Sunday Funday cruise or something that we all got all the hot rods and we took both lanes and we came down O Street? Was that last year or a couple of years ago?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I think it was. It was a
That
Sunday
was
Funday thing.
like old school time,
No, that was the Mr. Rod cruise.
Okay, and we
That was a couple
went
years ago
from
during COVID.
SCC all the way out to the airport, and we went all the way down O Street, and we took oops.
It's all right.
We took both lanes, and yeah, it was pretty cool. I don't know how many cars we had, but they were all old muscle cars, so it was really cool.
Yeah,
And I wish that's what we
cool
could do
cruise.
again, because now when you go out on Memorial Day, it's it's just a bunch of idiots out there. It's
Yep.
not even any old cars anymore, one or two, but
No, it's not, and everybody's driving like jackasses.
yeah. So
We used to go up to Kearney, and they used to have a good time up there too. About 10 years ago, it was a blast, but it's not quite the cruise scene as it was then.
Yeah,
too.
That was crazy.
I've heard that was a pretty cool cruise.
It was back in the day.
Yeah.
But there again, now it's all about, it's new generation. It's all these new kids. All these new kids got all the newer cars, So they're basically, all the old cars are fading out because, they don't want to be out there,
Yeah. It's a bunch of Challengers and Chargers now.
Yeah, it's a bunch of kids with mom and dad's money, so.
Bought, not built.
Yeah,
right.
Not built.
There's a difference between bought and not and built.
Yeah.
But it's not like it used to be. So it stays in the garage a lot. I used to pull it out a lot. Used to drive it a lot, and then when I got wrecked, I quit driving it as much. Because I used to get home after work. And I'm like, God, I'm going for a ride. But that's the way it always was until that happened. And that was just one day. I went for a ride. It was on Halloween. About 2 o'clock in the afternoon, got off work, and I'm like, gotta go for a ride. So it was a nice day still. Went for a ride, and I was about a couple blocks from home. I'm like, I'm gonna go around this way, One more trip around, and that's all it took. Just one more trip around, and it took me what, 2 years? About 2 years to get it all back together, get it painted, and it was the biggest nightmare in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy how long it takes to go through and straighten all that stuff out, and I can't even imagine dealing with insurance. That'd be a nightmare.
When you got the lady was 100% at fault. I had State Farm, she had State Farm, so it was my policy fighting her policy. So her policy called me one day, and they told me that I was 45% at fault. I'm like, well, how the hell can I be at 45% at fault when she was 100% at fault? Well, she wasn't 100% at fault. We found that you were going too fast, you didn't hit the brakes, and you could have swerved to avoid the accident. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? I'm like, I had 10 feet to do all that.
Yeah.
So, this lady just reamed on me and reamed on me and reamed on me. And by the time I was done with this phone call, I didn't know what to say. She pounded me so hard that I was dumbfounded. I thought I was screwed, So got off the phone, the next day I called my guy and I talked to him. He's like, oh, she's just giving you shit. She's just calling you, harassing you is all she's doing.
Trying to get you to admit something.
They're 100% at fault. You don't have to worry about anything. Oh, yeah. They just called me and reamed on me and kept telling me, you're at fault. You're at fault.
That's crazy. In-house.
To the point of where I thought I was at fault.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to say. I thought anything I said was being recorded, blah, 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 So, yeah.
I'm sure it was being recorded,
Yeah, so, and then, I went through the paint detail on it. I've had a guy paint it, and the paint job looks good from 10 feet away, but if you get up there and start looking at panels, there's, flaws on everything, and, so I went through something with that, and, the guy basically just said it is what it is, so.
The same guy painted his car the first time. It looked fabulous. It
Took
really
him-
did.
First time he painted it took him 8 days. The second time he painted it took him 4 months. When I went out to his shop, he had the hood off. He had nothing covered. He was sanding everything, paint dust everywhere. In the interior, all over the motor. I was pissed. So then I get it back and I find crap wrong with it, just spots on it. You put it under light and you can see everything, and
Yeah.
so.
Well,
But it's a driver, I get a lot of compliments on it. I don't let it bother me.
you're going to know every single flaw in it, and 90% of the people aren't going to notice it. There's going to be some people probably that can see and spot the stuff if they really look, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's a driver. It looks good,
driver.
and
I take it out and do a burnout anytime.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay me.
yeah.
It looks beautiful in the sunlight. It really does. It's got that. It almost seems a little bit darker than the first paint job, but it really has a good Well, you've seen it.
I like
you
it.
know.
I love it.
It's
yeah.
got a different clear on it this time. It's got I don't know what kind of clear, but the clear has more lush to it, instead of glamour is what I'm trying to say. The other one didn't have as much shine to it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a different. I have two different pictures of it. It's a totally different color than the first color.
Is it?
Yeah. So.
But it's still the same color.
But
name,
it's still
you know?
the same color, just a different paint, I think.
Mhm.
So.
Slight variations in the mix or the code or
So
whatever.
the bad thing about it is I pissed the guy off and he never gave me any touch-up paint.
No.
And I got the touch-up paint from the first paint job still. And it's a different color.
Oh, shit.
So if I get a chip on it, yeah, it's got a little lighter green on it. But
Yeah,
what the hell?
it's a driver, right?
It's a
That's what we say. I'd rather drive it and go out and beat it, and not care if it gets a rock chip on it or a little scratch here and there than have to worry about a trailer queen that you can't do anything with, because it's going to get.
That's why mine's primer.
Yeah, you're in the best case scenario right there.
Yeah, I could take a gravel road if I really wanted to.
Well, I took a couple.
Yeah, we got turned around on the birthday cruise and took a wrong turn, so we're like, we'll just go down this gravel road for a mile in the Chevelle or whatever, and then we'll turn around. Well, it turns out you couldn't turn that way because for whatever reason, so we ended up taking 7 miles of gravel to get to I forget what town we were going to, some small town, podunk town bar, where we stop. It's kind of like a poker run, but stop at 2 or 3 small town bars and then end up back at Derek's house. So
Boogie has some fun poker runs.
Yeah,
I've
they
been
do.
on a couple of them. I really like those. I like getting people together and doing things like that. Like I said, I did the cruises on the Memorial and Labor Day weekend. We had that one time, it was 106 vehicles. A lot of Jeeps.
Yeah.
I'm got a lot of Jeep friends. But oh man, that was so cool. Going across the Branch Stoke Lake Dam, just a line of cars.
Jeeps.
It was a line of Jeeps. The cars were first, and then the Jeeps, took up the back, and they decorate them and stuff. So, but everybody has a fun time. Nobody gets stupid. We haven't had any problems. So it's a really something to do. People got to do that kind of stuff. You just can't put your car in your garage and leave it.
Yeah, I think we got to get out and use them, and kind of keep the community building together. Everything's so online now,
Yeah.
just going out and experiencing life.
Grand Theft Auto, huh?
Yeah.
That's not driving a car, I'll tell you that.
No, I haven't played that game forever.
Yeah, but that game was a blast. That was a fun game. One of the better games.
Yeah, it was something I never got into. I was always doing the car thing. So, in high school, that was the thing. I remember pulling an engine out of a buddy's 67 Firebird. Big old tree. And you see this online, Big old tree limb. And we're out there with come-alongs pulling these engines out of these cars. It was crazy. We did it. Laying underneath the car, no jack stands. That was just the way it happened.
Had to get shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was, I don't know, I couldn't have been maybe 9 years old. My dad had 57 Chevys and out at Walkie's junkyard out there. And he had, I don't know what he needed. He needed like a floor brace or something, floor pan brace. And so he's got 2 come-alongs hooked around a tree, and he's got this 57 Chevy or 55 or whatever it was tilted up on its side about like that, so he can get over there and hack out whatever the hell he was after.
Oh man!
So
Walkie's was a gold mine.
Yeah, that place was awesome. I never really got to go there as an adult to go look for treasures. I always went out there with my dad.
We used to do that all the time. We used to go out all the time. There was so many cars out there.
There's a
Then
car
people started
like,
going out and busting all the windshields out of them. And
Yeah, I lived in
breaking
Malcolm.
stuff. And
Yeah.
It's just a bike ride down the road, So yeah, it was a lot of fun. He had a lot of neat cars, and it's too bad because when he passed away, they just crushed him and took him away.
Dude, there was a car with wood wheels back in the tree line. I remember that like it was yesterday.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was way in the very back.
Oh yeah, where it wrapped around back there.
I couldn't even remember exactly where it was, but I know we were walking forever. It felt like we were walking.
Yeah, that was way up over the hill.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been about the half-mile line then, probably. But yeah, I mean, he had every type of car every year you could think of there.
Mm-hmm.
Now Watts is about the only guy that has some stuff. Some of it's been picked through.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of shells. A lot of stuff that he has out there has
Been gone through.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a lot of shells. But even the shells are bringing 10 grand. So you know,
People are wanting that VIN number, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Can't make a new one. I guess you can, but then it's a builder or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they do that. But I think with a VIN, you still have to call it something. You can't call it the original car. Not for sure on that, but I don't.
Yeah, you got to get a title with the VIN and all that jazz, and then still trying to get it in your
Popo's
name.
got to approve it.
Yeah, you got to get it in your name. So there's some loopholes in certain states. I think in Vermont or whatever, you can just license your car in Vermont, and they don't need to. Is that a way to get a title for a vehicle? I'm not sure, because if it's over a certain number of years old, they don't issue a title for it, and then once you have it, the registration in your name up there, then you bring it down here, and they have to honor the registration and give you a title for it. I believe that's how it works. There's loopholes, but it takes a lot of energy to do it. You got to know somebody at the tow truck company or a dealership or something. That helps too.
Yeah, it's something everybody has to deal with when you get into doing a full project car.
Yeah.
Obviously he was lucky, and I was lucky to know the owner before and not have to pick something out of the weeds.
Yeah, the mail truck there, that was a pain in the ass to get a title for that. The VIN tag was gone out of it. I was lucky enough to find the VIN number on the frame, actually. Just a random stroke of luck. I was grinding the rust off the frame. I was going to weld a bar onto it to support something, and I go, I wonder what those numbers are right there. Looked online to see what the VIN looked like, and it was like, I was like, okay, well, that's the VIN. Now I got the VIN number, so now I can
That's
start.
cool.
Just randomly, just stroke of luck.
Wow,
Just
got lucky, yeah.
That helped.
just
What'd you do? Give them a picture or something of the VIN, or did you have to actually have them physically see
I
it?
do not. I have a title for it. It's an out-of-state title currently at the moment, and I will be getting hopefully once it's up and complete, I'll get a title in Nebraska in my name.
Are you almost done with that?
No.
Once it does wheelies.
You can have a guy that has $100,000 car still say no.
Yeah. No, Corey Petska's got the transmission. That should be done shortly. That's the motor for it, but I got to go through and gap the pistons, and I got a ton of stuff to do. But I kind of, after the car show, I worked on it pretty hard going up to the car show, and after the car show, I kind of took some time off, took a step back, built a go-kart. So...
Bringing up go-karts.
The go-kart to go out on the racetrack.
Yeah, out at Kevin and Tony's. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
That's crazy.
Yeah, that looks like a cool deal that they got going on there. I'd like to go out there and check that out.
It's pretty fun. It's a blast. I don't know how many carts are out there now. There's probably like 20 carts out there now.
They just pull the
I went to
camper out
school,
there and
yeah.
away they go.
I went to school with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
We graduated from Pius together. So, yeah, she's known her for a long time.
Bring up those toys. I had that Odyssey that I bought from Valparaiso, and we used to go out on my land and just beat the crap out of that thing. That thing would pop a wheelie. Those were supposed to, they had 125s. It was a Honda 125. That thing had a 250 in it.
Yeah,
And I bought it out back of this guy's garage, and we got that
$350
thing
or something.
running, and oh my gosh, it was just it'd run like a striped 8,
Yeah.
We beat the crap out of that for quite a while until I think somebody wrecked it and it got parked. But that was a lot of fun too. That putting a 400 Suzuki motor on a 250 frame, all those stupid things we did,
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
you're
that was
probably-
another Valparaiso thing. That was a lot of fun.
So I see how your mopeds, these all run, they all build.
Yeah, the Hobbit doesn't run currently. I think I soft seized it. The silver one's got a 70 cc kit on it, the circuit pipe, Mikuni 18 carb. That one will do about 40. And then the gold one on top of it just has the pipe. And I don't know how fast that one will go, probably about 30.
Well, heck, mine does that just with the regular kit.
It's got pedals too.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm 100 pounds lighter.
So
yeah, I got an old pedal one. It's God, what is it? Sprint?
Yeah, I'm
God,
trying
it's
to
like
think.
it's like a 81 or an 82 Sprint. It's only got 800 miles on it.
What's that one that you got from my brother?
Oh, that's a Honda Gyro. You seen that one? That little blue Honda I got, three-wheeler. Yeah, I got that from him. He goes, hey, I got this out here. You can have it if you get it running. So what I did, took the whole freaking thing apart. I mean, everything. Cleaned the carb, cleaned everything, put it all back together, got it running.
Yeah.
So he gave it to me, and then my neighbor wanted to buy it. Hell, my neighbor would have bought it for giving me about $1,200 for it.
Yeah.
But I said, nah, I ain't selling it. So
That thing's weird to drive too, you know, because it articulates in the center, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like a more of a leaning and turning rather than steering, I think,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
crazy little ride.
My son's got a Motron that he's trying to sell. He just got that done, and a Vespa.
there's that one other guy.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing that my son has. He has one of those too. The
Yeah, like-
Tomos.
Guy just, I think I gave $200 for it.
Yeah, I think.
Like 800 miles on it or something.
Yeah, that's a fun little the 2-speed.
No,
Yeah, that's
1,500 miles on it. But
yeah. That was his first one. He kind of got up and running.
there's my collection.
There you go.
Got a little Yamaha Raz, and then got the Honda Gyro, and then that little Sprint. Yeah, I take him out. We used to at midnight we go out and ride around in town and go hop on them and take off to Havelock, go buzz around Havelock about midnight. That's the best time to ride those things because otherwise people will run you off the road.
Yeah, is there? I don't know if it was 52nd. Is there like a gravel road right before it goes to the T, where the bike path is?
That's where I live.
Yeah, it's right around there, but like wherever that gravel road
It's
is.
right on 52nd. It's off of Orchard, one block.
Yeah, I
south.
was going to a buddy's house one night. It was one of those warmer nights in February, and he lives over on like 27th and Calvert. So I was going to hop on the bike path and just take that over. And as soon as I leave the driveway, the rear brake cable snaps. So I'm just on front brake cable, and I'm going to turn on that gravel. I didn't realize it was gravel, and I've got a handful of front brake on it, and it just goes right into gravel. And I ripped my knee all open, smashed my head on the ground. Luckily, I had a helmet on at that point. But like, yeah, that was a shitty day right there on that one. Was not expecting that road to be gravel when I was coming up to it.
You want to know about a shitty day?
Was it Halloween? 3 years ago?
11 o'clock this morning, I had to go have a root canal.
Oh, fun.
And then at about 5:45 tonight, I walked out and hopped in the Camaro to come over here and found out I locked my keys in the house. So luckily I have my Catio stuck in the window. It's a big screen thing that sticks in the window. I pulled that out to climb in the damn window to get my keys so we can come over here.
There's always something that happens.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, well, it's a good thing we planned early.
Yeah.
Because, I had to climb through right before we came here. I'm
Awesome.
like, oh, man.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to message you because I was like, oh shit, it's 10:10. I should just message him. I'm gonna run inside real quick, and I spaced it. And then I was upstairs, and I was like, I hear him coming.
Yeah,
So I had to haul ass down here.
Your wife was outside, and I didn't know. I didn't know if. Do you own the other garage over here?
My dad lives next door.
Okay, that's
so-
what it's all about.
yeah.
Because I'm like, because it looks like it's all connected to me. So I didn't know if you had it in the other garage or if it was in this garage.
No,
or,
this garage, yeah. So my dad's garage we built that a couple of years ago, and that's all finished inside too. So
Just think how many times we've driven by here.
Well,
We have driven by
yeah.
here so many times.
Well,
It's
I've
not
known him
funny.
for quite a while now, so I knew he lived here. I've seen
But
him out.
even before that.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, gosh.
When this was a creepy house with overgrown weeds
Yeah.
everywhere and the bush fence all the way around it.
Well, all the houses over here. Believe it or not, I've been over in this, lived over here for 27 years. So when I bought my house over there, I paid $46,000 for my house.
Yeah.
And now my house is worth $150,000. How that? And I got 20-year-old siding and 20-year-old roof on it. How is
I don't
that
know how
possible?
that happens. Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot
Remember
of
that
sense.
house that was right down here that was the porch was on fire?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're right. I think we were on the moped.
We were on the moped.
Yeah. We come by and there's this smoke coming out of this planter, and we went over and looked, and there's fire in this planter. They'd put their cigarette butts
Yeah.
in there, you know. It was on fire. So we dug around, tried to find the hose around the back side of the house. Found the hose and put the fire out. Those people weren't there, but, you know, we saved them, their house.
Yeah, they had the rails. They had planters that go over the rails, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think we drove by and there's fucking flames coming out. We're like, what the hell? So yeah, we did. We actually, I mean, the house would have burned down.
Yeah.
But
It
we
would have,
stopped
yeah.
it. Stopped there to put the fire out. And yeah, nobody was even there. So actually, didn't we knock that planter off that rail because it was all dry? I think we knocked the planter off the rail because it was.
But we saved somebody a big heartache,
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
People are
doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
people don't care. Throw their cigarette butts all over.
Yeah, probably was a rental, so it didn't matter anymore.
It could have been. It could have been. I mean, it looked like a pretty trashy place when we opened up the back door and was able to at least find a hose, you know. So
Yeah, you've done a lot of work to this house. I remember seeing this house before you even bought it, and then you bought it. And didn't you redo like the basement and everything
Yeah,
in it?
bought it in 05, and about 10 years later, we put a new foundation underneath it.
Yeah, because
Finished all of it out. So.
I think, yeah, I bought my house over there in '97, so I've been coming by here for a long time.
Yep.
Like it says, it's almost paid off. And then I get a big garage, or as big as a house,
and
not very
another
big.
car, another project.
But yeah, you know, he was talking about the Jeep thing and stuff like that. He likes Jeeps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I like the Jeep. Well, I got a good deal on my little car that I had. So what I do, I bought a Jeep.
Yeah.
And he loves Jeeps. So he's looking for a new vehicle, you know, and he has to have a truck where he lives. So his wife told him, well, why don't you just buy a Jeep and just keep your old truck? Well, because his old truck has over 200,000 some miles on it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's falling apart. The freaking
Runs great.
the
but
springs popped, the shackles popped, rusted through, and
Yeah.
the springs popped through the back of the bed of the truck. We had to fix that.
Is this a Ranger or a Mazda?
No, it's
a
actually
Chevy.
GM
Is it?
GMC. Yeah, you know, they turn to rust.
Yeah, pretty
But
common with
but
those.
the engine and transmit, you know, driveline, great,
Mm-hmm.
really great.
But,
And I need it. I live in an acreage, so you know you got to have a pickup. It's
Mhm.
just about. I'm not gonna grab my wife's pickup because that would be a sin.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I have a lot of acreage stuff to do. And, well, Jeep doesn't get that done very well, you know.
Mhm.
So, but I got to get a Jeep. I'm just looking for the right one. And you got a sweet deal.
yeah, I think
You really did.
Well, that's only because I had a Hyundai Kona, you know, and they're talking about all those Hyundais and Kias. They're getting stolen.
Yeah.
So I bought mine. It was a 2020. I owned it for 3 years. I paid like $23,000 for the car. Well, I drove it for 3 years, and they offered me $20,500 for a trade-in. And I'm like, okay. So when I traded in, it was almost paid off. So I got that Jeep for like 17, and I'm like, that's a hell of a deal.
Oh yeah.
The Jeep only had 44,000 miles on it. Somebody took really good care of it. It had never been out in I don't think it ever went down a gravel road, you know.
Yeah.
Because
Mall
the
crawler.
bottom is clean.
Yeah.
You know, everything's clean on it. So
Got a
yeah,
factory lift kit. And
yeah, it's all factory. Nothing on its aftermarket. Maybe a few of the little accessories, but
Mhm.
yeah, they put a 2-inch factory lift on it. It's all Jeep wheels, everything on it. So I think I got a pretty good deal. I love the color. Of course, it's green.
Yeah.
It's just a Camaro.
Almost like that.
Yeah.
So anything green, when I seen it that day, I'm like mine. You know.
Yeah, you got a thing for green.
Well, I got a green pickup too.
Yeah, I know.
I had a green car.
His grass is green in his yard.
I love the green. It's just when the guy, you know, when I found out what color it was after I bought the car, I'm like, you know, I seen the green. I'm like, yeah. I said that's going back to green. I wouldn't paint it any other color.
No, I don't. Maybe silver. I'm a silver guy.
Yeah. Not even silver.
Slowly, everything I own is turning silver. So.
But see, everybody has a color. You know, his color's blue.
Blue,
You know,
yeah, I like
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the only reason I like green is because I fell in love with this color. You know, I'm not a fan of a lighter green. I like the deep dark greens,
Yeah.
the deep colors. You know, like this color in the sunlight on the sunny day on the sunny side, you see all the gold metallic flake. On the shady side, it looks dark green. At night, it looks black.
Yep.
So.
No, it's a beautiful color. I like it. Do I need to say it again? It's probably my favorite Camaro in Lincoln. Definitely my favorite first gen.
It is what it is. I built it. It's built out of the garage. You know.
Yeah.
Everything in it's been changed. You know, there's nothing in it the same except for some of the metal. Other than that, I got it home, and you know, I've had fun working on it, and now it's just time to have fun driving it.
Hell yeah.
Keep waving it, people.
Yep, you got to go out and enjoy them. Go out and beat on them. That's what they're built for, I think.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Last time I did that, I broke it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, it costs a lot of money to fix them anymore. Hell, try and find a fuel pump for one of these old small blocks. Things are getting harder, and well, this
I
is.
had to get one from you. I mean, yeah, we were I was 5 blocks away from you. It was Memorial Weekend this year. My fuel pump goes out. So what did we do?
Before you wanted to go on the cruise.
Yeah. It was Friday night. In fact, we were going to go up, you know, do the stupid cruise thing. And so, yeah, what do you know? Dan has one in his pile of parts. Put it on. I still have it on there.
Yeah, we get called.
He's not getting it back.
We get called hoarders a lot for saving all. What are you saving all that useless crap for up there? I'm like, it's going to come in handy someday.
Yeah,
it
one of
does.
those days, because in fact we called around and couldn't even find one. It'd take a week to get one in, or a couple 3 days to get a
Like what the
I
hell?
to get a
suppose
small
they don't-
fuel pump.
They probably don't sell very many of them, so
Nope.
they're in the warehouse in Kansas City.
Phasing them out because
Yeah.
everything's turning into LS Motors.
Yeah, and Speedways was closed, I think, at that point. And of course, we wanted to get things
Yeah.
rolling. So, yeah, we just went ahead and put that one on, and it worked great.
No, you went ahead. Hey, my car died, and I'm like, where? He
Well, we
goes, I'm
towed
about
him
5
to
blocks
your
away. So I got the truck, got a strap, went over, towed him over to the house, parked it in front of the house, got a fuel pump. Did we do that in the dark?
Yeah, it was partially in the dark, yeah.
Went out in the street, put the fuel pump on for him, got him going. Because, yeah, he had that cruise that weekend, so that would have ruined his whole weekend for him. 'cause
Yeah.
the car was dead. And so we got him running, and so...
And like I said, I still have the fuel pump. You're not getting it back.
I don't need it back. I got electric fuel pump in the tank now. So yeah, you know, that's what friends are for. Well, we've known each other for a long, long time, so he helps me out, I help him out.
Yeah.
I'll help you out too if you need help.
Well, I very well might take it up. I'm kind of like a loner person because I just come in here and I'm not really good at delegating when it comes to working on stuff. I'm just kind of like just nitpick at stuff. And then I also have a little bit of ADHD, I think, because then I'm like, or squirrel syndrome, where I'm like, ooh, that's right, I have to do that. And then I don't get anything done. So I'm just ping-ponging back and forth, or, you know, but...
The guy that starts working on his car and ends up cleaning the cabinet or the toolbox or something.
Oh yeah, when I can't find any of my tools, I get so pissed off. I spend the rest of the night just putting my tools back away and organizing them.
I'm like one of them guys that, God damn, I know I just had it.
Oh yeah,
I just had it. I mean, yeah.
my dad was terrible about that when he was building the apartments or whatever. He's like, "Where the hell's my utility knife?" He always lost his utility knife. Did you check your pocket? Oh yeah, there it is. It's in his fucking front pocket every single time.
I do that at work too. You know, it's the same thing.
That's funny.
Well, guys, we've been at it for probably about an hour and 40 minutes now. So, you guys got anything else you want to cover?
thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been
thanks.
fun.
It's been fun.
Yeah, we've had this kind of in the works for probably over a year now.
Yeah, well, I wasn't so sure about it at first, but yeah, I had a good time. I'm glad I came out and did it.
Yeah, it's a little scary, a little nerve wracking.
But it's funner when you can bring the toy with you, you know.
Yeah,
So,
I know. I like doing the backdrop now, where people can bring their car in, and kind of gives everybody a little bit of something to look at that's a little different. So.
Yeah, because we're both kind of ugly, aren't we?
Yeah, the car really helps you guys out.
Throw a little class behind us.
Speak for yourself. So yeah, it's been cool. I'm glad that you invited me again, and we got to do it.
Yeah, we'll do it again sometime. Possibly, maybe.
Sounds
sure.
good.
Yeah,
And I think we
Yeah,
should.
Hey, when you
Disco.
get your car painted, bring it over.
Yeah,
We'll do it
there
again.
we go.
What? It's got to be painted.
I'll see, I'll see you in 10 years.
God. Yeah, you're never gonna get it done.
I was trying to give him some motivation.
Everybody's giving him motivation. I
Yeah.
think he hears that. I don't know how many times he hears that. When people come up to me and they go, "When's he gonna paint that car?" And I'm like, "You go ask him."
Well, it gets to a certain point where it's like, I'm never going to paint it because everybody keeps asking me, and I'm just going to do it despite everybody else now.
It's the
That's
same.
what I say, yeah.
It's the same car. The only thing about it is you don't have to worry about people scratching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you got a car like that and you take it places, that's all I worry about. I sit over there and I watch people. You know,
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just me because
Get a spot by the window at the restaurant so you can look out at the parking lot and make sure, you know.
Well, I remember one day we were at Culver's. There's a guy and his kid running around. They came over to my car, and I started talking to this guy about a 12-volt rear end that he has. In fact, it's the one that's in the car. And I was talking to him, and I turn around and I look over, and his little kid's hanging on my door with his knees in the door. And I'm like, are you serious? Get your fucking kid off my car. You know, and I got into it with this guy about his kid. But then I ended up buying this 12-volt from him anyway, you know. But yeah,
I don't understand
just
people like
despise
letting their
people.
kids touch their other people's cars. Like I get like kids are gonna want to go up and just like touch it. That's how they learn, by touching things and doing all that stuff. But as a parent, you're there. You should be there to smack the shit out of them and say,
Well, yeah, I
"Don't
mean,
touch that." Especially
yeah.
putting the knees in the door. It's a good way to put a couple little dents in it.
I'm not one of them Corvette guys just going to open the door and let a little kid sit in my car. That ain't going to happen. I see that all the time. You know, the Corvette guys are cool. They let kids sit in their car, but I'm not cool. I'm not going to let them do it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things you just got to stay away from. You know, kids don't think about that. And
They
that's
don't know
too-
that they're doing anything, and they've never been taught any better. So it's not really on them. It's on their parents. I blame their parents.
Yeah.
I
Shitty
get enough
parents.
fingerprints on that door from him.
Well, I'm holding on for dear life. That's why.
Smudge marks all the time.
Oh yeah, he comes over and he's.
Tell him to keep his hands in the car.
Get your greasy ass hands off my door.
Oh, shit. So,
Yeah,
All right.
we have a whole much fun when every time we get together and that thing. We always have.
I'm
We
gonna
come back with
definitely,
grins.
I'm definitely gonna make it to at least one of your cruises this year.
That's
I'll
good.
try
a
to
lot
do
of
all
fun.
3 of them.
Bring a lot of
you guys,
candy.
you guys should come to the birthday cruise. You guys would like it.
Well, let us know when it is, and
Well,
we'll make it
It's
happen.
usually around the 19th of August, somewhere around
Is it
there.
on Sunday?
It's
Sundays
Saturday.
are best. See, that's the problem with work. You know how
Oh.
that goes.
it's usually a Facebook post anyway. They usually.
Yeah, I think it
Post
might be
out
a
anyway.
moderately hidden group for the
Oh.
birthday cruise because it was getting so out of hand.
Yeah, just let us know. We'll
But
be
I'll
happy to
shoot
go
you a
to it.
message.
Yeah, that'll work.
That's what it's all about, having fun and cruising around.
Yep. All right, guys. I had a blast. Got to have my favorite Camaro in the garage. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check out FTPSpeedShop.com. Go pick up some merch and help the channel out. We'll catch you on the next one. Later, guys.
See ya.
Peace.